I think one of the most important things for parents to know and to realize right off the bat is that this is manageable. And if you have patience and diligence, you know, your child can live a healthy, normal lifestyle.
I think I labeled her something, and then I had to put diabetic. And so that was a big moment where I realized that that's always going to be with her.
It was clear to me that there was no reason we couldn't go forward and do all the stuff, you know, that it would be best for everybody, especially my son, if we went after this aggressively and tried to let him continue on as a little boy.
It is a manageable disease, and if we manage it and if we do a good job, it doesn't matter who tells you what about Aunt Sally. You know, maybe she didn't manage it. We don't know her story, but we know our story.
Dealing with people who were had misconceptions or myths about diabetes, because I tell them my daughter had, you know, diabetes, and they say, oh, well, how does she, you know, get by without eating candy?
We try to make things as normal for her as possible. I mean, yeah, she has a disease, but it doesn't need to limit her and what she can do at all.
It's interesting at school because there are families who have diabetes at school who don't want anyone to know. They don't want anyone at the school to know they have diabetes. They don't want their kid treated differently. And ours is the opposite. I want everyone to know.
I know that Gabby's sensitive to being normal. You know, she, this year in her 4th grade class, chose not to tell everyone in her class that she's diabetic. And I completely left that up to her. As a parent, I want people to know. I want the people that are around her to know what's going on with her in case she gets into trouble.
It just gets tricky and challenging to be in the grocery store or at the mall, and it's a little bit of a meltdown, and you know, she's 50 and you're like, okay, there's a reason for this, so let's just get you taken care of.
The plain truth of the matter is, no matter how hard you try to make it be so that he's a regular kid, when it comes to a sleepover at another parent's house, he's not a regular kid.
So I think it's important that you're very upfront about the people you work with and your employer on what's going on and how that might affect your job and how that might affect your availability.
I'm convinced that his A1C numbers and his general ability to live with diabetes will get better and better as he gets more and more responsible for the overall care.
Do what you do. Do what you love to do, and don't let it stop you from doing those things. It's harder, it's more complicated, but you can still do those things, and somehow that gives you a feeling of power over a situation that feels powerless.
I agree with that. It's completely manageable, and you have ups and downs, but you can get through it, and it does get easier.
Yes, it does.